look at the first response. We're in verse 18. So the Jews, this should be understood not as every Jewish person in the crowd, but as the Jewish authorities, the temple authorities, those who made room for all this exchange to happen in the court of the Gentiles. It says, so the Jews said to him, what sign do you do to show us for doing these things? Basically, what gives you the authority to do this? You're clearing things out. Give us reason to believe that you're a man of God. Again, you see, this is not a riot. They're asking Jesus some questions. And they're not asking bad questions. They're asking for a sign. Look down at your passage and just look up at verse 11. We covered it last Sunday. But look at verse 11. It says, this was the first of his signs. This is Jesus' miracle, the wedding of Cana. We looked at last week. He did a sign. A sign was a miracle that pointed toward him. Just like a signpost points towards destination, a miracle that is a sign points towards Jesus Christ. Verse 11 says, and this is the first of his signs Jesus did at Cana in Galilee and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him. What happens? A sign happens, then belief happens. So these people are asking Jesus, give us a sign. So we would think, well, maybe what they're asking for is give us a sign and we'll believe. But again, Jesus sees their heart. He sees something that we can't see. He sees this as a genuine request. In fact, Jesus would see this over and over again in the Gospels. When people would ask for a sign, but with bad motive, and he'd say, nope, I'm not going to do it. Others would come to him and say, please heal me, heal my son, heal our friend. They would ask for signs, and Jesus would do it. How does Jesus know the difference? It's because Jesus can pass the Pepsi challenge. He can see something that we don't. He knows our hearts. Look at Jesus' response to their question. Again, Jesus knows that something true is not in them. Verse 19. Jesus answered them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. The Jews then said, it has taken 46 years to build this temple. You'll raise it up in 3 days? Verse 21. But he was speaking about the temple of his body. When therefore he was raised from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this, and they believed the scriptures and the word that Jesus had spoken. Notice the difference there. What is John doing? John is setting up this kind of contrast here. He's saying these Jewish authorities are saying, I want a sign. Show me that I should believe in you. And so Jesus gives them a sign. Now, it's not a sign right away. It's a sign for the future. It's the sign of his resurrection. In 3 days, I will rebuild this temple. You destroy it. Right there, we kind of get a glimpse of what's coming, that the Jewish authorities are the ones who actually will leverage their political power with the Romans to have him crucified. They're the authors of the crucifixion in a human perspective. Not the Romans, but the Jewish leaders. And Jesus says, look, your defiance is going to get to such a level that you're going to try to destroy me. Well, I got a sign for you. I'm coming back. I'm going to rebuild this temple. It says here that disciples will remember this. When Jesus raises from the grave, they'll see it and say, hey, I remember when Jesus said that. And then they're going to believe the scriptures that were spoken. Do you see what's happening here? Jesus is setting up what we're going to see throughout the gospel journey. As if there's going to be signs performed and people will resist those signs. They'll demand them. Sometimes they will not get them. But the ones that they will get will not give them a welcoming posture in Jesus, but actually will build up resistance. You're going to see this as you journey through the Gospel of John, that sometimes Jesus will do these just miraculous miracles, but not in a way they like. So their hatred for Jesus will grow. And Jesus already pointed at that. You're going to try to destroy me. What do we see right here? These two responses tell us this. Jesus was right. When you lift the cans, or you lift the cover from the cans, Jesus gets it right. Before they ever show their cards, Jesus knows what was in their hand. Before they ever show their hearts, Jesus saw their heart. And he knew wasn't right. Look how John ends chapter 2. I love how John puts this passage and arranges his material to have this passage into. Jesus is going to take another Pepsi challenge. Okay, jump with me to verse 23. Look at this again. Jesus, the table is set. Things look good. Things look like Pepsi. But Jesus knows better. Look at verse 23. Now, when he was in Jerusalem at the Passover feast, why does John tell us that? Because he's saying, hey, this is about the same week, about the same time. He's kind of tying these two events together. It says this, very simple description. Many believed. Okay, that pin that you wrote down the big idea with, circle that word. Circle the word believed. That's the same word just used for the disciples. Same word. When it said they believed the scriptures about Jesus' resurrection, it's the same exact word. There's no indication to us, the reader, that this belief is any different than what we just saw with the disciples. So to us, the reader, it's like the cover is over the can. Things look good. The label looks good. We know that logo. We know that we're loyal to it. Things look like Pepsi. No indication otherwise. But Jesus takes the test. And what does he find? Go back down to your Bible. Now, when he was in Jerusalem at the Passover feast, many believed in his name when they saw the signs that he was doing. Again, signs, the same thing that Jesus did before his disciples at the wedding of Cana. And they believed. Everything looks okay, doesn't it, so far? But look at this. Jesus tastes. Verse 24. But Jesus, on his part, did not entrust. Now, this word is actually the same word used for belief there. It's essentially saying Jesus didn't believe himself to them. He didn't trust himself to them. He wouldn't have faith in their appraisal of him. He knew their heart and said, I can't give myself to you. You are not trustworthy. He did not entrust himself to them because he knew all people. Look at this, verse 25. And needed no one to witness about men, for he himself knew what was in men. Now that's a confusing verse there. What is it saying? Jesus didn't need a teacher. He didn't need a witness. He didn't need someone to teach him about the hearts of men. Jesus didn't need a marketing team to come in and tell him, let me tell you how to sell to your market. Let me help you understand your clientele. Jesus didn't need that. He didn't need surveys. He didn't need anything to help him know how to market himself. He wasn't missing knowledge about the people he was interacting with. Jesus knew them better than they knew themselves. And that's how Jesus passed the Pepsi challenge. And here's what John doesn't do for us. And honestly, it's part of our passage this morning that was kind of, what's the best way to say this? Frustrating. I remember studying this passage and thinking to myself, man, it'd be really helpful if John would give us a criteria. Here's how you know if it's Pepsi or Coke. Here's how you know belief and false belief. Here's how you diagnose the human heart. Here's how you know the human condition. Here's how you can discern with the same level of clarity that Jesus does. But he doesn't give it to us. In those last couple of verses, everything looks fine. There's a sign. People believe. It's the same word used for the disciples' belief. But Jesus knows different. And I'll be honest, in studying this week, it really kind of frustrated me. John, why don't you tell me how I can pass the Pepsi challenge? I think there's a reason John doesn't tell us. It's because that's not his point.